Hello and welcome to my review of UFC Undisputed 3. Yeah, really like this game so far. I've played through career mode, so I'll give you my thoughts on that. And yeah, I'm just about to jump into a little bit of title mode here, which is new to me. Never done it before. And so I'm looking through the character list here, which I'm really happy with actually in this game, because you know what I'm like. I like a big choice of characters. So I'm going to try and win the title with Dan Hardy. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, he hasn't been doing too well of late. In fact, he hasn't fought for a very long time. I know that he's taken a big break from MMA, from the UFC, in fact. And yeah, I don't know when he's supposed to fight next, but I thought I'd do a bit of Dan Hardiness because I am, in fact, British and therefore need to hold it down in my reviews. I shouldn't I, really? Unless you want me to be somebody else, then yeah, let me know. And I could have been Bisping, but I know that probably wouldn't have been too popular for obvious reasons. Yeah, so here I am jumping a little bit, going to fight Mike Swick real quick here, which I thought was quite funny because I remember watching Dan Hardy fight Mike Swick, which was quite a good little fight, 3 rounds and stuff. But I think maybe knowing that Dan Hardy's takedown defense is as poor as it is now, that maybe that fight would be different. Yeah, and I don't know. I've always been a big UFC fan. I know it's gaining momentum here in the UK, and that's something that's really good. You know, we need it to be big over here, cause seeing as boxing sort of died out. And yeah, I got nothing but praise really for the UFC. I mean, it's been a big break actually. I think there's a fight this Saturday. They've got an event. I think it's Silva and Gustafsson, which should be quite good. And yeah, it's been a long break. It's been like, I remember looking on the site. You know, when you go on the site and you look at the little MMA counter thing at the top, and it says how many days to the next event, and it was something like, I don't know, something like 30 or 40 days, and I was just like, oh goodness, how am I gonna get my fix of UFC? But you know, they've had both series out. I can't remember what they're called. Was it Tough Brazil? They've done, and they're doing that other one with obviously Faber and Cruz as well. And here I am. I get the stoppage fairly quickly in this fight. I didn't really know what to expect of Dan Hardy, because I literally jumped into career mode straight away when I got on this, and I was building a fighter from scratch. Means you don't have many moves to start off with, and you sort of, you know, you choose your moves to learn in camps and stuff, which is really, it's a nice touch, I think, and you earn camp loyalty, and that's quite good. And yeah, so something else that I really enjoyed about career mode was the ability to go to the old Pride tournaments and stuff, which I thought was just amazing. A really nice touch by THQ or whoever commissioned them to make the Pride bit. Yeah, but I do notice though, it does sort of feel a bit like, you ever play WWE games? It does, like, the movement is a bit it's different, but the striking sometimes feels like it, you know, like in WWE games where you pop out the jab sort of thing. It's kind of a bit like that, and maybe that's something that people shouldn't, you know, wouldn't enjoy. But I mean, it's a good game overall, and obviously, as I said before, the roster's really nice, and you can switch to the Pride roster as well and have a look at some of those fighters, which is a good touch. Excuse me if I go silent every now and then. I'm having a little drink because this is 20 minutes, and I do this off the top of my head. I just chat basically. I don't write anything down. So yeah, and here I am fighting Matt Hughes, which worried me actually at the time, because obviously being such a strong wrestler that Matt Hughes is, I thought I'd be taken down and pretty much ground and pounded to death, or maybe even submitted, because you know he's got some pretty hefty submissions in his record as well. I know he's submitted Hoist Gracie as well in the past, so I wasn't feeling too good when he took me down straight away. But yeah, I'm only on advance, so I do find that I can get back up to my feet fairly easily in situations like that. I know in old games, I remember 2009, it did feel like the learning curve was huge. You know, like you could learn so much about the game. Like you could have fun with it with your mates, have them round and beat each other senseless, basically, with whoever you wanted to be. And then, there was the online aspect where even like small mistakes, your opponent, if they know what they're doing, is going to capitalize and just destroy you. And there are other aspects that have changed a little bit as well. I think the online camps have gone through some sort of revamp. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I haven't had a proper look. Oh yeah, a little Superman punch there. And I've just really enjoyed it. Okay, the graphics are still, I'd say, about the same, really, that they were in 2009, 2010, which is good. The graphics have always looked good. You rarely get, I haven't had any flash knockouts, where you just get hit once and get knocked out. I remember in the MMA game that they had, the EA Sports MMA, that was quite often that happened, and he just absolutely slams the shit out of me there. That often quite happens. You start a match, you just get punched once, or someone would have like a creator fighter online, and they'd just be so overpowered that they would just literally punch you in the head once, and you'd be like out. Which I guess is occasionally that's quite realistic, isn't it? I mean, there's been some really fast knockouts I know of. Off the top of my head, Todd Duffy's knockout. I'm trying to think what other ones happened really, really fast. I mean, it's all those ones where people come running across the cage and then or the octagon and use like a flying knee, and they've literally just run onto a flying. I remember there was an Anderson Silva one in Pride, and there's a Thiago Alves one, I think. I'm not really sure, but anyway, so that's another thing. I've not been flash KO'd here yet, and I've managed to get another finish there, which is nice to know. I'm looking a bit beaten up though after this fight. Remember, did this go 2 rounds? I think it did. So that's another thing that I really, really am enjoying is the look of the game. It's still holding up pretty well, I would say. I mean, I say this about every game I review, because I just like the look of different games and graphics and stuff. But I really am enjoying UFC Undisputed 3. If there's one thing I'm not that happy with is I thought the career could have been a little bit more immersive. You only get 10 or 11 years with your fighter to get all the titles that you had and stuff like that. So it's all right. You get Pride title and stuff, and it's nice towards the end of your career when you got Bruce Buffer announcing that you're welterweight champion, former welterweight champion, former middleweight champion, Pride Grand Prix champion, super duper cage warrior extreme champion of the universe type of introduction, which is nice. And another thing which I quite like in career mode or creator fighter mode, is like switching weight class. That's quite a cool little touch, being able to move up and down and fight. I did feel though sometimes I wasn't sure whether or not I still had the belt or not. Like I'd be in middleweight and I'd take a fight at light heavyweight and I'd still be champion, and it hadn't, they hadn't like gotten rid of it or something, and so that was a bit strange. But yeah, the Pride Grand Prix I really enjoyed. Bass Rutten being back on and stuff, that's a good little touch. He's really funny with his commentary. And Goldberg and Rogan are generally on form as they usually are. Yeah, and here we are. I'm still just like pecking away at Nick Diaz here. I know he's got long range. I've been knocked down there, so I'm getting my ass kicked again, as I usually do in these reviews. And I'm just trying to pile the strikes on really here. Another really good thing about this game that I found is the sponsors. Actually, I quite enjoyed that. I thought that would kind of ruin it, having to have sponsors on your shorts or on your shirt or whatever. But it's actually quite a good way to get cred in game. At the start I totally ignored it in career mode, because you can sort of customize shorts and stuff like that, and you have to unlock, like Affliction and Tap Out later on in the game, because they're obviously big brands and stuff. Muscle Farm, Zions, all those are included. Harley Davidson, all the big brands that the UFC sort of flogs to you on a daily basis, sort of thing like that. And as you can see, big Zions in the middle of the ring. Yeah, so I really the career mode is really good. If anything, it ends in. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it ends in sort of a. It was kind of an anti-climax for me. It was kind of like, oh, you're at the end of your career. You know, you've got like, oh, there massive knockout there, big head kick. Yeah, you're at the end of the career. You know, what are you? You know, you've got a year of fights left and hard training and stuff. So you know, make the most of it. And it's just like, well, you know, what else after this? I still want to do career mode. My character, right, I think he was like 32 when he finished. So he was like retiring at 32. He'd almost had 50 fights, I think, or it was like 48 fights. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody knows what the maximum amount of fights is. But yeah, I took as many fights as I could. And in my final year, I did the middleweight Grand Prix as well, and I won that. And I did, yeah, it was kind of weird because it was a middleweight, and it had like John Jones back in the Pride days. And I was thinking like, if he was around back then, he'd be like 12 or 14 or something. Yeah, so that would have been really funny fighting a 14-year-old John Jones. Yeah, just punching children, basically. But yeah, a lot of it is really good. It was I really wanted to face Hoist Gracie in the final actually, but he lost to Lyoto Machida, and I ended up fighting Machida in the final with the middleweight Grand Prix. Which yeah, it was good. But at the end, I was kind of like, well, what do I do now with my character? He just retires at 32, and then that's it. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do after that? You can't really do anything. You've just got to move away from career mode, I guess, unless you want to sit through it all again and maybe choose a different style of fighter. I chose a boxer, but I know you can choose the usual array of jiu-jitsu, all sorts, wrestling. I'm talking about your what do you call it? Your base skill set. So like what's made you what you've started as a fighter. So you're sort of like your go-to style. I know a lot of people will probably choose wrestling because you know we know now it's a very strong base for mixed martial arts. And you see like the strong wrestlers in the UFC doing very, very well. Here I am facing Dong Hyun Kim, and knocked him down really early on, and just pouring it on, trying to finish the fight early. Because yeah, you don't really want to fight Dong Hyun Kim. I mean, he did beat Diaz, but I mean, I think that was kind of a bit. He did do well, but in the third round, I thought Diaz might finish him, but. You know, that's the thing, isn't it? Strong wrestlers again. Dong Hyun Kim, very very strong wrestler, or whatever he is. It might be a judo guy. I'm not really sure. And yeah, Donald Cerrone, another strong wrestler, but Diaz managed to take him. But oh god, Rory McDonald, the dude is just a beast, man. I'm not sure if he's in this game actually. He better be, because yeah, Rory Mac, man, that dude can fight. Yeah. Man, he's so good. I remember it. What was it like? Did a couple of suplexes in that fight against Diaz. That was really impressive, and he just dominated for I don't know how many rounds. And to be honest, he was beating, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people thought he was beating Condit in that. I think it was three round fight, wasn't it? Towards the end, Condit with that finishing ability managed to get the stoppage. But yeah, until that point, I had Rory McDonald going through it, winning pretty much. Yeah, and the UFC's been a big break. There's this big grudge match thing going on at the moment, isn't there, with Rashad Evans and John Jones, which is, you know, it's interesting. It's probably selling quite a few tickets because they love all that grudge stuff, don't they? You know, like building it up to be they hate each other, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a genuine one. I know a lot of people really buy into that whole, oh yeah, they absolutely hate each other type of thing. But I'm not so sure they do. I think it's more, you know, they've got to be playing out for the cameras, haven't they, and stuff. So I reckon it's probably not as bad as people think it is. And what else is really good about this game? Well, it's not that expensive. It's been out for a little while now. I don't know how many. It's been out a couple weeks, maybe a month now. And it's doing well. I would suggest you rent this instead of buying it, just because. You know, owning it you might buy it and just dislike. I found the loading times a real pain in the arse, to be honest. And it's not something that you really expect from a 2012 game. Especially, now you've got games. You should have our loading time should be really diminished. But these, I know I can understand it's not easy to like load all the to load the characters and stuff like that into the octagon and get the crowd right and stuff. And I mean, I still don't think anybody's ever got a crowd right, but this comes pretty close. I mean, I like the photographer sitting on the outside of the ring and popping up every now and then to get a good shot. And I think because the camera's moving all the time with your fighters, you don't notice it so much. The static crowd, it almost looks like a whirl of faces and stuff like that. You don't really pay much attention to them being cardboardy or anything like that. And yeah, I'm just jumping in here. I think I almost punched Yves Levine there in the head. He should get out of my way, basically, because I don't know what he was doing there. It almost seemed like he blocked my punch. Anyway, I'm fighting Shields here, and he's a strong wrestler. So I was a little bit concerned once again with me being Dan Hardy, and you'll see why in a minute as I almost get submitted via armbar in the first round. But I think you'll all agree that it probably wouldn't have happened because Dan Hardy can't be submitted. But yeah, well, he can, but he can't be armbarred by George St. Pierre or Kim Murad. So I think I was pretty safe. And yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm never sure where these games pick up in the season because I got on it and I was sort of like, is it going to be really current? Is it going to have all the fights that are recent and John Jones beating Rampage, Dos Santos beating Velasquez, and it does have champions are up to date, I think, but yeah, I'm not really sure where it's leaving off. And here we go, he's almost finished me there, Shields, and we're having a little battle. I'm rubbish at this this submission game as well. I just can't figure it out, and the luckily the buzzer saves me there towards the end of the round. So yeah, I'd pick this game up. If anything, the career mode is a bit of a letdown, I would say. But yeah, there's certainly fun to be had in title mode, and it's because it's the UFC. You've got licensed fighters, and if you're a UFC fan, you will really appreciate just the matchups and being able to match up your favorite fighters against each others, and chat chat to your mates and play with your mates when they come around. It's a real good sort of like pick-up game where you can have mates around for drinks or whatever, and have a few fights on this. It'll be a laugh. And yeah, I just think it's worth a look. I mean, not the best, most polished game I've ever seen. In fact, I think if I had to choose, I might prefer EA Sports MMA to this. Just the career mode though. I mean, the lack of the UFC fighters is a real down point for me in that game. But I mean, in this game, obviously, you've got all the licensing from Zuffa and the UFC, so that's not really a problem. And the roster is ample. It's a very good roster. I would have liked to have seen a few more classic fighters, perhaps in some of the Pride bits. Obviously, they're never going to get a Fedor Emelianenko in the heavyweight division, which is a shame. But yeah, not bad at all, really. And I would like to see improved stats for some of the characters as well. I know John Jones has got the highest stats, I think, in the whole game. So, I mean, that's good, but I wouldn't say, like, Aldo is any worse than John Jones in his division. Or has been less dominant or anything like that. So, I reckon that's probably something that could be improved as well. Anyway, here I am trying to land some strikes and shields. I like that spinning back kick to the body. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I've been using that quite a lot in this fight. But I probably should stop kicking, because every time I kick, he catches my leg and takes me down. Yeah, I don't really want to be clinching either. I don't know what I was doing in this fight. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to try and get to the title. So if you guys like this series, I might make a UFC quest for, gold or quest for the belt type series. So yeah, if you like it, leave a like, a comment, a subscribe, all that jazz. And yeah, just let me know how you find this game, and if you enjoy it as much as I do. All right then, guys. See you soon. Bye.